LaNorris Sellers will play Saturday versus Akron, but why? Locked on Gamecocks starts right now.
You are Locked On Gamecocks, your daily podcast on the South Carolina Gamecocks, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, guys? Welcome into Locked On Gamecocks. I'm your host, Chris Marler. I appreciate you guys joining us and appreciate you making Locked On Gamecocks your first listen each and every day. We are part of the Locked On Podcast Network, available wherever you as well as streaming on YouTube as well. I appreciate you guys making Locked On Gamecocks your first listen each and every day. Shout out to our everydayers. Make sure you are checking us out on all platforms. Also, want to give a shout out to our friends at FanDuel. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Now through September 22nd, all FanDuel customers can bet $5 and get a 3-week free trial of NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. All right, we got a good show today. Let's get into it. LaNorris Sellers, it was announced yesterday. Shane Beamer at his press conference said, I'm trying to get the exact quote. He says, LaNorris assures me he is good and will be ready to roll. And Shane Beamer told reporters on Tuesday that Sellers has told him he is good to go for this weekend's out-of-conference game. Here's the thing. Why? It's too early in the season to start questioning a lot of decisions. But here's the thing. The assumption was from all parties, I think, across the board, if he sat out the second half against LSU, which he did and needed to, and that's fine, he couldn't go, what is the benefit of playing him against Akron? And here I feel like maybe you guys disagree with this. Let me know in the comments. I would love to hear y'all's feedback on this. You guys are a very smart audience and do a great job of weighing in on stuff and correcting me when I'm wrong. So maybe I'm wrong about this. I don't know. But here's my question. You're going to put him out there against Akron, right? Who is arguably the worst team in all of college football and has been for the last several years. Like if you look at CBS's, 1 through 34 rankings, 1 through 134 rankings, they rank every single team every single week and across the board in college football. Akron is consistently at or near the bottom. I'll bring it up right now. What do you need to see him do against Akron to feel better about something moving forward? Because I think the assumption, like I said, across the board was you sit out against Akron, you sit out in the bye week, you rest up, and then you hit the meat of your schedule. You got Ole Miss, you got Bama. I believe they have Mizzou coming up. No, Mizzou's in November. But you got 3 games coming back to back to back. I feel like in who am I missing here? Is it A&M? I'll pull it up here in a second. But like you are getting into the meat of your schedule, and it's clearly the most difficult part of the season. Oh, Oklahoma. So you have Ole Miss, you have Alabama, and you have Oklahoma. 2 of those games are on the road in very hostile environments. I don't see the benefit of putting LaNorris Sellers in. And maybe he won't. Maybe it's like just for a quarter. I don't know. I think more than anything, what you need in this game is to get Robbie Ashford right. Because if you saw what happened on Saturday, the entire offensive game plan went to crap as soon as Robbie Ashford came in. And I don't even know if it was an indictment on Robbie Ashford, to be honest, versus what Dowell Loggins was calling. He only attempted 4 passes. I know he had 11 runs, and not all those were designed runs by any means. A lot of times he was running for his life. But I think that you clearly, especially if you have a high ankle sprain, anybody that's played sports or played football especially knows that is not an easy injury just to pop back up and recover from. So what are we doing? I'm in a little bit of a mood today, so maybe I'm just overreacting. I don't know. It's been rainy in Atlanta for like a week straight. Maybe I'm projecting on Shane Beamer. But here's what I do know about Akron. Okay, here's what I do know with certainty about Akron, and that is this: Akron hasn't won more than 2 games in a season since 2018, and that's when they won 4. Since 2018, 2019, they won 0. 2020, they won 1. 2021, they won 2. 2022, they won 2. 2023, they won 2. They're 1-2 right now, and they have a win against Colgate. What are we doing? It doesn't seem to make a ton of sense to me to go out there and risk anything else happening to Sellers. I just don't get it. And I think that from what you saw on Saturday, you could definitely stand to throw Robbie Ashford out there and let him get some work. And I'm sure he will in this game, right? Like, I think like everyone should see the field. You and I should see the field on Saturday. You and I should see the field against Akron. They are really bad. I mean, really, really bad. So I got my little nameplate here. I don't know what it entails of like I don't know what the offensive game plan is going to be. I cannot imagine by any stretch of the imagination, it would be shocking to me if he played more than a quarter. But I guess my main question is, what are we doing here in terms of what's the benefit? Like, what's the ultimate like ceiling on what the reward would be versus the risk? Because if you're weighing the risk and reward, I think the risk far outweighs the reward. Far outweighs the reward. This is exactly what Shane Beamer said. He said, LaNorris assures me he's good and will be ready to roll. He said he was asked if perhaps coaching staff will try to protect Sellers and avoid running him against Akron since he's coming off an injury. In a perfect world, that would be ideal. But Beamer said his goal is to win the game. Listen, that's fine. I'm all for coach speak, whatever. We can be smart enough to figure out what he really means. But at the same time, you should have just come out and said yes. I don't like because this is what his actual response was. And his response, to be honest, feels a little concerning. Like he said, yeah, we're trying to win a game Saturday night. That's not going to be easy either. I know it's easy to say, well, this is not an SEC team and they're 1-2 and they lost to Ohio State and Rutgers. This team presents problems, and we've got to do what we have to do to win the football game on Saturday. This better be 1,000% coach speak. 1,000% coach speak. We'll just continue the overreaction here. If he goes out there and something happens to Sellers, like that's a massive deal to this football team. You saw the drop off of what happened to the offense when he exited the game on Saturday. I mean, in the third quarter, they had 12 yards of offense and 0 points. I still think Robbie Ashford can run this type of offense. Again, it's not like Sellers has lit the world on fire with his numbers. I think he was 9 of 16 on Saturday, or I believe I can pull that up as well. 9 of 16 on Saturday against LSU, and had 113 total yards against Kentucky. He was 10 of 14 for 166. Old Dominion, he was 10 of 23. So on the season, where it's not like it's not like he has lit the world on fire. 54.7 completion percentage, 393 total yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. You cannot risk LaNorris Sellers going down against Akron, though. Flat out. Just flat out. So we'll get more into some of the things that he said. And again, I think it's coach speak, but let's be clear. It damn well better be coach speak. Because if it's not, this is arguably the most important player on the team. It's not Debo Williams. It's not Nicky Manwari. It's not anybody on the defensive side. You could argue Kennard, maybe Rocket Sanders. I don't know. Feels like Sellers, especially after what we saw in the second half of this offense against LSU, is the most important player on this team. So you cannot risk losing him to Akron. At Akron, they haven't had more than 2 wins in a season since 2018. I just don't. It's just odd to me. We'll get more into it. There's still plenty more to come. We got some more stuff to cover that's beyond just me overreacting to what, again, I hope is just coach speak. But appreciate you guys joining us. In the next segment, we'll talk about that. We'll also talk about some different things that he said, breaking down the Akron team and what they will be facing this Saturday. I think that the quote that really sent me was, they present problems. The only problems that Akron should be presenting is if they're carrying COVID, or if it's a travel hiccup that they're going to have, like what's the team that was playing? The New Mexico flew to Auburn last week and had to end up taking a bus from like an hour away. Unless that they have to have an emergency landing in Florence or Myrtle Beach, that should be the only problems we're talking about with Akron. Just flat out. But we'll get more into it in the next segment. Before we get into our next segment, I do want to talk to you about a new sponsor ad read. And guys, I know I have to say this for almost all of them. This is really cool. So listen, have you heard about ROY? It stands for Return on You. It's a new platform that lets you, the fans, get involved in NIL like never before by making contributions directly to your favorite athletes. By supporting players directly, you can help shape the rosters, retain talent, keep your favorite athletes out of the transfer portal. That's a bit much. As you all know, NIL has changed the game for athletes. ROY changes the NIL game for fans. Here's why ROY is different than most other NIL things. Directly support players, right? ROY allows fans to directly back their favorite college athletes. With ROY, fans can play a key role in shaping the future of their favorite teams while athletes maximize on their name, image, and likeness potential. It gives you exclusive content access. When fans contribute to a successful campaign, they receive access to exclusive content from the athlete, such as their announcement decision, behind-the-scenes footage, and other personal reflections, all of which are available only to the fans who supported the athlete. There are no-risk contributions. Fans' contributions are securely held and are only distributed if the athlete makes the decision that aligns with the fan's support. If not, the money is returned to the fan. That's pretty elite. Engage with athletes on their NIL journey. By using ROY, fans not only support athletes financially, but also become part of their name, image, and likeness journey, helping them succeed both on and off the field. Now, here's what you do. Download ROY for iOS or Android, enter the referral code Locked On, and you'll automatically be entered into a sweepstakes to win $5,000 cash. Visit joinroy.com for additional details. There's no purchase necessary. Void where prohibited. Get the ROY app for iOS or Android and start making an impact on your favorite team today. Use the referral code Locked On for an opportunity to win $5,000 cash. Visit joinroy.com for more details. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited. Get off the sidelines and into the NIL game with ROY. All right. That is all for the first part of the show. We will be right back, and we will continue talking about the decision with LaNorris Sellers and also what it could mean for Robbie Ashford moving forward for this game and the rest of the slate as well. Locked on Gamecocks continues right up next. That's not a phrase. All right, welcome back into Locked on Gamecocks. And listen, it's the second segment, so I just want to give a quick shout out to you guys and say how much I appreciate the support and all that kind of stuff. I should have done this at the top of the show, but I know you guys like to get right to the action, talk about right to the point things. And now it's the second part of the show, so I can kind of lollygag and do whatever I want. That being said, we hit 5,000 subscribers yesterday on YouTube, which was really, really cool. We also, in the last two videos, have surpassed like 38,000 views. It is we're only on September 17th. It is the highest viewed and listened to month that the show has ever had. And we're barely halfway through it. So I just want to say thank you so much to you guys. You guys have been great. If you have not subscribed, it would be awesome if you did. Just go to Locked On Gamecocks or go follow us on Locked On, Locked On SC on Twitter as well and social media. But shout out to you guys. You guys have been great, and I appreciate, I think the phrase is like welcome home to all the new recruits and stuff like that. It's been a lot. You guys have been so helpful to me starting the show about 2.5 months ago. Now, let's get back into this game against Akron and the quarterback situation. And here's what I really want to focus on more than anything. It's strictly just some of the stuff that Beamer said from that game. And I told you this before. The Akron game, when you look at where they are as a team, it's not good. Like they have consistently been one of the worst teams in the conference or in the country. So I think right now I'm looking at the ESPN. They're 131. They're 131 in the country. They're ahead of Temple, UMass, and Kent State. And that's because all those teams are 0-3. So 131 in the country. While we're here, might as well see where South Carolina is. It cannot be. They're 42nd. So that's kind of interesting at 2-1. Here's the thing. I don't want to get too wrapped up in what is said based off of just like the coach speak. This could all just be coach speak from Beamer. But I do think that it's important going into this game. Yeah, you want to come away with a win. What are the things we want to see most from the game? How about that? Let's get into that. What are the things we want to see most from this game? You are a 26-point favorite. Let me pull it up to be on the safe side. You're a 26-point favorite against Akron. I'm not saying this from a betting standpoint. I'm not saying this from a fan standpoint. I'm saying this just from an objective position on here. This, you better cover. You better cover. You have to. I don't care how that sounds. It's trivial. It's stupid. It feels like it's, for lack of better words, like a materialistic type thing. It is a thing that doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things. The first thing you want to see is no injuries, of course. But two, if you're looking for what you need to have in a bounce back game, you are in a bounce back game because of the loss to LSU. You need a big win. You're at home under the lights. Like Willie B should be rocking, especially early. This game cannot turn into Old Dominion. You have to put them away early. And the comment about they present problems, I don't know what problems they could be presenting. I'm looking at, we're just pulling up their stats right now. Listen, this is a team. These are real numbers. And we'll get into the actual breakdown of the game as the week goes on. They're averaging 18 points per game. They're allowing 40.3. They're averaging 2.8 yards rushing per attempt. They're allowing over 5.1 yards per attempt. They have 5 touchdowns and 4 interceptions on the season. It's only been 3 games. Dude, and guys, like the teams they played, this is their schedule. They lost 52-6 to Ohio State. They lost 49-17 against Rutgers, and they beat Colgate 31-20. Their only win is against Toothpaste, guys. You got to go win this game, and you got to put them away early. I'm looking at it right now. They played it in front of 8,900 people in the Colgate game. Anyway, but they have not been like, they're allowing teams to be 100% in the red zone against them. 100%. Third down conversions, opponents are 48.7% on third down. Like every which way you look at it, it is teed up to be, including Vandy and Wofford, this could be your biggest win of the year. It honestly could be bigger than Wofford. Like, this is the worst team on your schedule, most likely, and that includes an FCS opponent. I still say there's no reason that LaNorris plays. Maybe he plays one series or one quarter. I don't know. You also, just to be clear, you don't want to see him get hurt. So, like, maybe you are trying to, refine the passing game, get some things going. Maybe you get Harbor going this week. Maybe you figure out a way to get Vandrevius Jacobs more involved. Maybe we try to find the tight ends. Maybe Luke Doty makes an appearance. I don't know. But, it does feel like you're going to be able to pound the football with Rocket Sanders. They're giving him 5 yards a carry, over 5 yards a carry. You should be able to let LaNorris drop back and have all the time in the world against this team. All the time in the world against this team. This is the most inferior opponent that you should face all year. And I think that the important thing outside of injuries, which is the obvious thing, right? The important things that I want to see some consistency. I do not want to see a single digit other than a goose egg and a 0 in that turnover column. But let this be a game for Shane Beamer to come out and say, look, a week ago, we were this close. We could be 4-0. We're not. But we are not going to come out here and struggle like we did against Old Dominion. We're not going to come out here and struggle in games like we did early against Kentucky. We are going to put our foot on the gas and end this game in the first half. Everyone plays. So that needs to be the goal from Shane Beamer and company, I think, going into this Akron game. It's not rocket science. It's pretty simple stuff, right? It's pretty simple stuff. It's a team that's given up 6 yards per play on offense. On defense. to put that, these are bad. To put that in perspective, this is the 126th ranked scoring defense. And it is, let me see here on total yards allowed. Oh, not that bad. Total yards allowed. They're in the top 100 here, guys. 93rd. Okay. But yards per play, you're talking about a defense that is ranked 101st, over 6 yards per play. Got to be crisp. I've said so much of the players and stuff like that. I need to see more from Dowell Loggins. Like, I don't need you to put a bunch of stuff on tape necessarily for the Ole Miss game. I can't imagine there's a lot of stuff that you haven't shown on tape at this point because you already had games at Kentucky and LSU. But I need to see more. I need to see the offense being ran as the offense, no matter who is calling, like whoever is behind center and under center. I need 60 minutes out of Dowell. 60 minutes of good, and I tell you what, fun. Like this should be a fun Saturday night in Columbia. It should be a fun Saturday night against a horrible team in Williams-Brice, and you look good and you look crisp, and like you do not need to see 20 plus carries out of your quarterbacks combined, individually, any of it. So that is what I want to see initially looking into this. It says they present problems. They shouldn't present any single problems for you. You saw what this team did a week ago at times, and they're right on the cusp. So we need to see the Kentucky and LSU version of this team versus what we saw in the week one against Old Dominion. And I think we will. I don't care who's back at quarterback. I think you are going to see a lot of points scored. I think you should be in the 40s on this one easily. And I think you'll also see some stuff that you have been lacking in the first part of the season. I think you're going to see more receivers get involved. I think you're going to see more consistency out of the offense, driving. Like, you will see chunk plays and explosive plays, but you will also see some more consistency, especially in the passing game, because this is a team that you should have a glorified practice against. So that is my first takeaway from Akron. We'll get into more throughout the week. We'll talk about some other stuff too. Tomorrow's the coaches teleconference. So there'll be some more stuff that breaks out of that. And that's about it. So then, as the week goes by, we'll get more into it. I will close the show. Before we close the show, do want to tell you about another friend of ours on air here. That is FanDuel. And you've heard me talk about FanDuel before. It's America's #1 sportsbook. Maybe you were like me last night. You sprinkled some money on the Falcons money line. I don't know. Or maybe they just did something on FanDuel that they've been offering over the past month or so that ends on September 22nd, this upcoming Sunday, where all FanDuel customers can bet $5 and get a 3-week free trial of NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Then with a YouTube TV base plan, to be able to watch every regular season game every Sunday afternoon at a market game. All you need is a Google account and a current form of payment, and you can cancel anytime. Just visit FanDuel.com. Download America's #1 sportsbook. That's a good deal, guys. It's not like we want to sit here and watch the Panthers anyway. My goodness. All right. We're going to take a quick break, and then we will get into our last segment of the day. Locked on Gamecocks continues next. All right, final segment of the day. It's going to be a quick one. It's just something I thought that was kind of cool. You heard me talk about the NIL stuff earlier from Roy, our new partner. Mazio Bennett got a new brand deal. I thought this was pretty cool, especially being in the South, especially being in South Carolina, because I know how much most of this audience probably loves this product. Mazio Bennett, a new spokesperson for Hidden Valley. And it's hard for me to say Hidden Valley without just saying Hidden Valley Ranch, because that's what everyone knows Hidden Valley as. But a pretty cool brand deal. It is something that came up, I believe, on his Instagram yesterday that he posted, and it made the rounds on social media. So pretty cool. This is like the fun part of NIL, where you see certain things and brands and being able to align yourself with things that you already probably use or like or enjoy, and also be able to make some extra money off of it. So pretty cool stuff there. I tell you the other thing, just kind of a quick little run around the SEC from other things that are going on. There was a story that broke earlier today. Tennessee did something they're at the forefront of this. I want to get y'all's take on it. So tell me in the comments what you think. If you think it's a good idea, bad idea, somewhere in between. Tennessee is going to start charging a talent fee on their tickets that will go directly to their NIL fund and revenue sharing for their athletes. So it'll start in 2025. Basically what it is, it's like, I don't know what the total is. I want to say it's like 10%, but I could be wrong about that. Their ticket prices already are going to be going up 4.5% next year across the board. I think it's not even just football. I think it's across the board. They had a really, really good year across all of their sports. They were able, I think like 16 of their 17 total teams made the postseason or something crazy. Like they had a really, really good year all around. But they're charging a talent fee now on their tickets. And here's what I think is interesting about it. It's going to be on every ticket. It's going to be on single game tickets. It's going to be on season tickets. It's an included fee that will be added on. I do believe it's 10%. And it will be added on to your purchase, and it will go directly to the student athletes, which I think that's pretty cool. I think it's a pretty cool, innovative way to raise money. Where it's odd is you're going to be charging that for everyone's tickets. So if you're buying this, and I think it's like only firsthand, I don't think it's going to be like on the secondhand market or anything crazy like that. But if you're buying these tickets, like if you're a South Carolina fan going to Tennessee, I know they don't do that this year or next year actually, but if you're going to a game there and you're buying a ticket, you're directly funding their NIL. It's a weird little catch-22 there for opposing fans that are going to be visiting Neyland or any of their facilities. But I do think it's kind of a cool thing. Do you think it would be cool to see South Carolina do something like that? I think in this economy, I don't care how that sounds. Like I would like to pay as little for as many things as possible. I'm still just listen. This main part of this paycheck is going to Lowe's every week, and in the produce department over there. So there you go. But let me know what you guys think. If you think that's a cool thing, if you think it's dumb, if you think whatever, let me know in the comments. And that's it. So that is all for today's show. Make sure you are making Locked On Gamecocks your first listen each and every day. For your second listen, check out a number of our other shows. We have Locked On SEC with our buddy Chris Gordy, maybe Smothered and Covered with Barrett Salee, brought to you by Locked On. We will be recording tonight. This is Tuesday the 17th. In about an hour and a half or 2 hours, we're going to be recording our SEC pod that comes out every Thursday. So make sure you're checking that out as well. And that is all for today's episode. I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your Tuesday. We'll be back tomorrow, I believe, and we'll talk more about just the state of the union of South Carolina football right now, and also the Akron game as well. So have a great rest of your afternoon. Go Cox. Talk to y'all then.